You maybe have seen this video from Coops Garage Gym Reviews. He gave an interesting perspective about kettlebells. And in this video, I'm giving you my unsolicited opinion. But before we get started, we help busy over 40s get in shape with only 30 minutes of kettlebell training per week in the next 6 weeks. If you want to find out how we do this, download our free ebook called The Kettlebell Code in the first link in the description. Grüezi miteinander, Gregory von Lebe hier. Let's jump right into Coop's review about kettlebells in 2024.
Okay, so there's basically three categories, kind of four if you break one of them out, but the three main ones are just your cast iron kettlebell. For most home gym owners, if you're just using a kettlebell for something other than kettlebell sport, so you're gonna do double-handed swings, as well as things like goblet squats, maybe cleans and presses. You just wanna do everything with them, farmer's carries. A cast iron kettlebell is the option that you should get.
You can do all the exercises that Coop mentioned with a competition kettlebell, whether that be a deadlift, a goblet squat, a press, a farmer's walk, everything just works perfectly fine. The cast iron kettlebell is John Duquesne and Pavel Tsatsoulin's brainchild. In the early days of the RKC, they modeled their own kettlebell, and this is the only reason why cast iron kettlebells exist.
Why did you decide to change the size?
We just thought it would be a more efficient way to work with kettlebells.
So you were the originators of the cast iron as we know it.
Yes. Those first sizes, yes.
You do not want those vinyl ones. Those are kettle junk. They suck. I'm telling you, you just don't want those. They're not gonna last. Also, the cheap ones that you find on Amazon, the really cheap ones, you don't want them either. Like,
I wholeheartedly agree with Coop. If you have a crappy kettlebell, the feeling is not the same, the enjoyment is not the same, and therefore you won't probably reap the same benefits. However, if this is the only kettlebell that you have, it is a junk kettlebell, but you want to work with what you have, then by all means go ahead and start swinging, cleaning, and pressing. We have been working with clients over Zoom who didn't have a proper and solid kettlebell. And yes, it wasn't the same, but we can still get started with kettlebells. And once you understand or decide that kettlebells are for you and you have saved up enough money to get started, by all means, go buy a Supreme option. And I'm gonna share which one the Supreme option is.
Like most kettlebells, cast iron kettlebells are gonna have a similar feeling when you're using them because they're a bell. That bell's gonna be sitting on your wrist. I would say generally if that's hurting a lot, it's because you're not using proper technique. Get your technique right first if you're gonna be using them in the front rack and pressing and things like that, because otherwise they will hurt. It's a different movement than you use with dumbbells.
Kettlebells will always hurt on your forearm and they will always chafe up your palm skin the first time you get started. Yes, technique will mitigate these problems, but your body has to get used to it, and there's no way around it. My sensei Steve Carter used to call these situations, a banged up forearm and some chafed up palm skin, as discomfort. And he follows up with saying that discomfort is the reason why we grow. I would add on top of it, pain is a sign that we took it a little bit too far. So yes, work on your technique, get started with kettlebells, and just know in advance that it might hurt a bit, but once you improve your technique, it all gets better, and it's an uphill way from there.
One thing to watch out for, and this is why I've picked these ones to recommend, the ones that I've listed, is they have recessed logos. So this is something that you probably wouldn't think about till you get it in and then you start using it. There used to be companies, and there's still companies out there, that in their cast iron mold, they have lettering that sticks out instead of sticks in, which means every time that hits your wrist or hits you somewhere, it's scratching against you. It's super annoying.
Once again, I agree wholeheartedly with Coop. And this idea of protruding and recessed logos never crossed my mind, because when I got started with kettlebells, I was using kettlebells that already had recessed logos. This ties into many of you asking my opinion about the Onnit, Monkey, or Gorilla kettlebell. Even though I never trained with one of these, I know that based on what they look like and the protruding elements that they have, they're not perfectly suited for regular kettlebell training. However, for a decorative piece of art, they're awesome. And I most definitely have to get one.
What I looked for though is what's the accuracy guarantee. So most of the companies don't list these. I have to call the companies and say, hey, this is Coop from Garage Gym Reviews. And they're like, oh no, what are you calling us for? And I have to say, guys, what's your weight accuracy on your kettlebells? And they're like, I don't know. And then they go find some rando nerd in the back who engineered them and is like, okay, this is the weight accuracy. Because nobody really cares. But weight accuracy matters because you want to guarantee that it's going to be within a certain gram or a certain percentage. And if it's outside of that and you weigh it, the company should replace this.
I fully understand that you want the full value of your money, and you have a 100% right to get it. However, accuracy only matters if you are a competitive athlete. Your body only understands resistance. It's not that your body will have a worse or better stimulus if your 24 kg kettlebell is 23.95 or 24.1. But of course, you can get a refund if you weigh the kettlebell and you see that it's not perfectly 24.0, if we talk about a 24 kg kettlebell for that matter. However, the time it takes to weigh the kettlebell, to reach out to the business and the company and tell them that you want to get a refund, and you maybe even have to send back that kettlebell, I don't know if this is worth your time.
This is the cost. And this, I think, really, like just being truthful, this is what matters most for kettlebells. For a lot of products, I don't think this matters as much. Barbells, I think I'd rather spend more because you're gonna get more before diminishing returns happen. For kettlebells, diminishing returns happen really quickly. These are very much commodity products.
I honestly do not understand Coop's reasoning for that matter. And from my perspective, it doesn't make sense at all. For solid equipment, barbells, dumbbells, machines, you always get what you pay for. With a kettlebell, it is the same principle. You get what you pay for. In our case, we only use hollow core competition kettlebells in a professional setting. And we know, see, and feel the difference and know there are no diminishing returns at all. Now, yes, if you call a broken paint job because you've been working with double kettlebells and they clank and they touch each other, which is the nature of kettlebell training, and you call this diminishing returns, I agree, yes, it is. But the broken paint has nothing to do with the kettlebell per se. It's still solid, you still get the same benefits, still the same feedback, and the broken paint job only occurs if you train with double kettlebells. If you take care of these things and you clean them regularly, and not clean like this, I mean regular cleaning, then you can keep them pristine in a good condition for years to come. This, for example, is a field fitness competition kettlebell. And what happens with these weights? You get what you pay for. The mold starts breaking inside the more and the longer you use it. So there you have it. Invest in a solid kettlebell because this makes sense most definitely.
Then the best overall, by far, if you'd like to see a full review on these, let me know in the comments, but the Pro Kettlebell Apollo series, whoo! These are nice. If I could have a full set of these, these are the ones to get. In fact, they're so good, I couldn't find them in the facility because I wanted to play with them. Somebody took them home because they're that good. They're just so freaking nice. So they're more expensive, understand that, but they have other features that others don't, and they are by far the most comfortable kettlebell.
Ah yes, the Pro Kettlebell. I love it. It's an awesome tool. I think it's one of the best kettlebells out there. Wholeheartedly agree with Coop. But brother Coop, you forgot to mention, these things are also made in the USA. And I'm not even American. I recommend you to get one. The contoured arm pockets, perfect for the forearms, a great finished handle, soft on the palm skin, a second grip because you can grab it right here, a solid hollow core with way more stability when you place the kettlebell down, and an awesome flow feeling. Nikolai Puchlov from Pro Kettlebell, he's done a great job. It's an awesome invention. I recommend you to get one. And you can do this with a 10% discount code in the link in the description. And why am I telling you ASAP? The price might go up soon. And they have every reason to do so. It is a great piece of invention and one of the best kettlebells out there on the market. Finally, I want to mention this typical beginner mistake. I know it has nothing to do with the review per se, but it's a typical beginner mistake that people make when they grab kettlebells. and Coop was doing this. Bell comes up and the elbows flare out. Don't do this. Keep the elbow close to the body. Imagine it's like boxing or like martial arts. The elbow always stays close to the body. And another beginner mistake is this. The bell comes up and then it somehow travels back down like this. You have to decide, am I doing a clean and press or am I doing a snatch? These are two different exercises. And while I respect Coop and I think he does an awesome job, I wanted to give you some insightful knowledge from a practitioner who uses these things on a daily basis. Here's the next thing that you have to do. Clean and press that like and subscribe button. Share with a friend who's also interested in kettlebells. And if you made it this far, consider downloading our free ebook called The Kettlebell Code. If you're over 40, 50, or 60, and you need a tool that takes care of your fitness ASAP because you don't have a lot of time, the kettlebell is the perfect tool for you. So go get it. It's free, 100%. You'll find it in the link in the description.